Welcome to week 5, everyone. We're about halfway through. Yay, I think. And so this week we are beginning the last sprint in our course where we do all the things related to inferential statistics that we're going to see in the course. There's a lot more that we can do. But so if you navigate to week 5, you'll see kind of what we have on the docket. So we are going to begin with this week. It doesn't seem like as much content as previous weeks, but it does take perhaps the most amount of energy, and we're intentionally going a little slowly so that we can lay a solid foundation for the rest of the semester. So really what we do this week, if you don't get it, you're going to really struggle in later weeks. So if you get stuck, please reach out, and I have more on that here soon. But so the two things that we're going to focus on this week are learning about confidence intervals, what those are and why those are important, and then also looking at the hypothesis test, our first hypothesis test. So we learned about null and alternative at the beginning of the semester and how to write those, right? So we're going to return to that and then actually do something with them in the form of a z-test, okay? We'll learn about a z-test this week. Next week it'll be a t-test and a few other tests. So in confidence intervals, we'll have to learn, like, why do we need them? Well, we're going to estimate the range of a population mean and the chance that our estimate contains the population mean. And then the hypothesis test is, getting a p-value. So we actually go through and figure out, okay, how did we get this thing that we were nebulously referring to earlier in the course? So we'll have to get back to Excel for that. So then, of course, we have our normal cycle of videos and exam. Oh, yeah, right. We have an exam this week. So back in week 4, if you have to navigate back there was information about our second exam. Okay, so our exam is going to cover 6 chapters, over modules 2 and 3. So study design, that's where we were doing stuff about the type of sample. So was it a good sample or not? SRS is the golden or holy grail sort of thing. And then with the study design, that was, is it stratified? Is it blocked? Once we get the sample, what do we do with it, right? And then we have our, probability stuff, and normal distribution. And then lastly, that sampling distribution stuff with the central limit theorem and law of large numbers. Okay, so be ready for that. And again, it's going to be the similar format, not same, similar. So we'll have the Canvas part of the exam, right? And it looks like overall we got through that unscathed last time. So hopefully Honor Lock worked okay for all of you. And again, I just want to remind everyone that this part, there is no additional resources. So a student asks, can I use scratch paper and pencil? I am going to allow that. I am going to trust that you are not bringing anything into the exam on that sheet of paper. Okay, because I understand the need to doodle or just get your thoughts out. So if you need a sheet of paper and writing utensil, that is fine. But otherwise, no additional resources, nothing. Your computer's pretty much locked down. Your phone should not be nearby, okay? Or accessory laptop, etc. Okay? iPad, notes, etc. Okay? I want to see what you know, not what all your resources know. Okay? Written exam is going to take the place of the Excel exam this time. So written in the sense that you need to physically write. I believe you could type it, I think, but either way it needs to be a final PDF. So whatever you work on, you need to make sure that it's submitted at the end as a PDF, okay? So again, similar to last exam, 2 or 3, probably 3, some multi-part questions, and again, you're not, you can use resources, just not anything where you're interacting with another intelligent entity, right? So no AI, no friends that have taken this class or something similar, okay? And then last time we did run into a couple people that submitted the wrong file, okay? Don't do that. So just make sure to check your submission. This time you are going to have to submit through Canvas using a tool called GradeScope. Very easy, just like upload your PDF, and then I'm going to ask you to tag the pages of your submission. So like it'll ask you, where is exercise 1? Oh, it's on page 2 of the submission, right? So you just have to click on page 2 for exercise 1. All right. And then again, prep materials are there. And then I'm going to be honest on the written exercise. There isn't a lot, or in the written part of the exam that is provided, the sample exam, there isn't a lot on chapters 6 and 7. So you might want to just try and go through some actual research articles and say, okay, what did they do, right? Was it stratified? How was the sample collected? And see if you can identify that, okay? So I provided some articles there for you to look at. But after exam 2 on Thursday, then we have our activities, right? Give you a day extension until Saturday, okay? Those are there. And then the other thing that I'm going to ask that's kind of abnormal is that we're going to start preparing for the final project, right? And for that, I am going to ask you to submit a proposal just so that I know, like, okay, this is what you want to do. Is that going to work with the constraints of the final project? So if you look at the final project, the entirety of the project is posted here in the proposal. Okay, so please give this a good read through. And so then there are 3 parts to it. We will do parts 2 and 3 by the end of the semester. Part 1 is what we're going to do right now. So I just want you to think about a topic that you're interested in researching and has the potential for you to gather data. You're not going to need to necessarily. We can use AI. We're going to use AI potentially to generate the data. If you do collect your own data in a good method, or using a good method from this course, so like random sample, and you can demonstrate that to me, right? That's the other key piece. Then there will be significant extra credit. We're talking 20 points or more, okay, depending on what you did to collect that random sample. So, but at this first stage, all I want to know is, what is your vision? Do you want to throw an egg in boiling water and see how long it takes for it to boil, right? And that you could do gather data, and then the data that you'd be gathering is time data, which we can take averages of in tests, right? So something like that. Something that probably won't work is your big dreams of solving cancer, right? Where you want to understand how does this drug affect quality of life? Well, okay, that's a big question, right? So we might need to get very specific, very granular. And honestly, if it is a very simple thing, that works for this project. Don't overcomplicate it, okay? So, but if you have questions, feel free to email me, let me know somehow, and we can have a little discussion about it. And the other thing that I will say is that if after the deadline, which is the 14th, if you don't get approved, you can resubmit, and I'll mention that in a comment. Okay, so feel free to resubmit if you don't get it approved the first time. Okay, and then we have our homework. Okay, there are 4 homeworks, just because we're breaking it up into a few different pieces. So we're doing 2 chapters, but in different pieces. Let's see, so exam 2, I talked about solutions folder. Yes, so remember, if you want to view the solutions to activities, right, it's in, where we are doing the activities, and I have included everything that you need so far. I really encourage you to view these in comparison to your own solutions, because what we're doing with grading for the activities is generally we're grading based on completion, not correctness. If we're scrolling through and we see something that is an error, we might call attention to it, but know that your grade is generally reflective of completion, not correctness. At least on activities. Labs, we're a little bit more thorough. Okay, so please take a look at this folder, again, right where the activities are posted. And then my last comment that I need to conclude with is, I have found, at least last week, I was really bad at responding to Canvas posts, and I sincerely apologize. like many of you, life gets a little full and complex at times, and so I did not do a great job of responding to posts. I will continue to prioritize that as best as I can. However, if you are stuck and I'm not responding to posts, please find me and just ask Monday and Thursday evenings on Zoom. If you have questions on how to access that, let me know. Email me is another great thing. I do respond more frequently to emails, generally within a business day. Or if you happen to be in the Rochester area and are on campus at UMR, at least for the next 2 weeks, I am on campus like 6:30 a.m. to 3 o'clock or so in the afternoon. So we can find a time in there to chat as our schedules allow. Okay, so keep with it. We're over halfway done, and this week really know that you're beginning the foundation of the rest of the semester as we look at confidence intervals and our Z tests. Okay, so have fun, good luck, and let me know how I can help. Take care, everyone.